Okay, so now that we've familiarized ourselves with the rules, let's use them. So see a rule, use a rule. So in this case, I have x to the 1/6 and x to the 2/3. So I basically have my product rule going. I got the same base and we're multiplying. So what do we do with our exponents? We add them. Of course, how do we add fractions? We need a common denominator. So 1/6, I think that will need a 2/2 if I'm being official. So that becomes 4/6. And we end up with x to the 5/6. Okay. Again, class rule. Let me reiterate that we're starting off with fractional exponents. So my final answer, I'm going to go ahead and leave in fractional exponents. So finish the way you started. So there's our product rule. Here we're dividing by the same base. So that's essentially our quotient rule. So I'm going to keep that base, and I'm going to subtract my exponents. Again, of course, how do we subtract exponents? We find a common denominator. In this case, this will need a 3/3. We get 5/6 minus 3/6, and so that becomes 2/6. Of course, we know we can reduce 2/6. This becomes 1/3. So there would be our final answer from that one. So again, we started with fractional exponents. We end with fractional exponents. We saw a rule. We used a rule. We simplified. Everything is good. Next example. Lots of things we can do, but what do you see first? And what I kind of see is an opportunity to use my negative exponent rule, but I'm actually going to use it just to take my bottom and raise that up to upstairs. Because what I like to do here is I basically see my product rule in play. So that's what I see. So we have -1/2 plus 1/3 plus 1/4. So we're basically adding up all those fractions to finish this problem. And I believe the LCD here is 12, right? So this would need 6/6, 4/4, 3/3, and we get -6/12 plus 4/12 plus 3/12. And I believe all that becomes 1/12 when we're done. So we started with fractional exponents. We'll end with them. Again, I kind of saw the negative exponent rule, but I just used it for once, so I can use my product rule later. Okay, so again, you might see something different, but that's what I mean. See a rule, use a rule, show me your work. In the next one, we have a power of a power. So that's basically our power of a power rule right there, where we multiply my exponents together. So we're going to keep that 3, and I'm going to take that fraction, and I'm going to multiply it to that fraction. The 3/3, right, those will divide out, and so we're left with 3 to the 5/4. Okay, so again, that's a nice simplified fraction. There's actually more we can do with this, but I'm going to save it for another date. Right now, we're just concentrating, we're focusing on seeing a rule, using a rule with our exponential rule. So I'm just going to stop there. The next one, we have parentheses, and the 1/2 is being applied to the parentheses, and I also have a product. So I basically have my power of product rule. So everybody is going to be raised to the 1/2 power. The 16 is going to be raised to the 1/2 power, and x to the 6 will be raised to that 1/2 power. This is just a fancy way of saying the square root of 16, and this is basically that guy again, my power of a power, 6/1. So I have x and 6/2 there if I multiply my exponents, my fractions, top to top, bottom to bottom. Square root of 16 we know to be 4. If we reduce that fraction, we get x to the 3rd, and that's pretty slick because basically we started with a radical technically, and going through our simplification, going through our exponential rules, we're left with something without a radical. So we kind of simplified. Last but not least, I've got a quotient being raised to a power. So that basically is that rule right there, my power of a quotient. So x to the 3/4 gets raised to the 1/3, and 8 gets raised to the 1/3. Up here I have my power of a power again, so I multiply. So 3/4 and 1/3, top to top, bottom to bottom, we get 3/12. And on the bottom I essentially have the cube root of 8, if I want to see it that way. Up here that simplifies to x to the 1/4, and the cube root of 8 is 2. Again, I started with fractional exponents. I'm going to end with fractional exponents. All right? And so we've again done two things there. We've applied our exponential rules and practiced them, And we have also simplified the expression, which is coming up. We're going to be doing that quite frequently as we go along. All right, so very well done. Hopefully that was a decent review of our exponents and our fractions. And one more video to cut, and we're done with this section.